Hey, are you still worried that Donald F. and Trump Krasnov is going to make himself a dictator? You ain't got to worry about it anymore, y'all. If you've been watching lately, um, he can't do it, y'all. He ain't got it in him. He don't have it in him at all. For one thing, he should have probably started a long time ago, long before he was 80 years old. But even besides that, he can't do it. He can't do it. Now, he's going to do some damage to the economy and stuff like that. He's going to try to go ahead and burn America down, but he ain't going to be no dictator. He ain't going to be successful at doing that. He's too stupid and too pathetic, too weak, too much of a meow. He can't pull it off. He's too thin-skinned. See, and he ain't got no common sense. Even a dictator needs some common sense. He don't have any of that stuff. I mean, just like his supporters, the people that still support him, no common sense whatsoever, just ignorant as can be. So he don't have what it takes. And if you watch that interview he did with ABC, it tells you everything you need to know. He's a dumbass. See, that dude that's being held down there in that El Salvadorian prison, Trump said, well, he's MS-13 because it was right there on his knuckles. Right, them tattoos right there said MS-13, right? MS-13. Well, the reporter tried to tell him, no, that was photoshopped. I mean, clearly it was photoshopped. And the thing is it wasn't being photoshopped and trying to disguise anything. They were using Photoshop to label what they deciphered out of what those tattoos meant. Donald F. and Trump ain't smart enough to even understand that, y'all. He thinks that, it's real. It's got to be real because it's labeled right there. It's labeled, so therefore it's real. Now, Photoshop's been around since the 1990s, y'all. I started using it when it was new. But anyway, look, I don't know who did the deciphering on those tattoos to come up with MS-13, but it's a reach to get where they got there. Now, I tried to go through the process and try to understand what is that? How did they do that? Well, I got looking at it. Well, that was a pot leaf right there. He had a pot leaf, a smiley face, a skull, and a cross. So I'm assuming what they must have did is said, okay, well, that's marijuana right there. That's an M. We're already figuring it out. That's an M, marijuana, M, then a smiley face. There's the S, y'all. MS. Well, then there's a skull. Well, that's another S. That's a MSS. Look, that couldn't be it. But you know what? It's just one skull. So that's MS1 right there. And then there's a cross. And that's your 3 right there. See, because it has 3 points if you don't count the 4th one. MS-13. That's how they come up with it. Meaningless. Bullcrap's what that is. Anyway, there's a better way to decipher it. And the thing is, you can make many different conclusions of what that might mean. And you know what? You know what it could mean? Most likely, more likely, at least. If I was to decipher that, try to break it down, what kind of hidden code is on that man's knuckles there in those tattoos? Well, you do got a marijuana leaf right there. That's a pot leaf. And then you got a smiley face. And you got a skull. And then you got a cross. I would think that the most likely message that he's got there tattooed on his knuckles is smoke weed, be happy, and death to religion. That right there makes more sense than anything, don't it? Well, it does. See, I could get behind that message right there. I could get behind that. Matter of fact, we should keep more people in the country that think that way than the people that say, hey, you know what? Let's criminalize marijuana and force our religion, our deadly religious views on everybody else in this country. Those are the people that should be deported down to a prison in South America for the rest of their lives. Those are the people that should go down there. But no, Donald F. and Trump, no, he wants to stick to it. That's MS-13, MS-13, MS-13. And you have to believe me. Why can't you just agree with me? That's what he was telling that reporter. Why can't you just agree with me? Because he's a whiny little biatch and he thinks everybody should just agree with him. You can't do it. I mean, you can't stoop to the level of being that stupid. Anyway, he's just a whiny little biatch. And then, whenever the economic news comes out, and in fact, the economy did shrink for the first time in years. Well, then, you know what he did? He blames Joe Biden for it. Of course, this ain't me. It's Joe Biden. That's his economy. This is his first quarter of his last quarter. I don't know how he don't know how math. Do y'all know how math works, you fake ass patriots? See, a quarter is 1/4, like a quarter is 1/4 of a dollar. Can you read a tape measure? I bet you can't. Anyway, ain't no use in explaining it to you. Anyway, this is Donald Trump's quarter, not Joe Biden's quarter. Okay. See, now, while he wants to blame Joe Biden for this terrible economic news that happened under his watch, 3 months in, after he started squatting in the White House again, he wants to blame Joe Biden. You know what's funny about that is 3 months before he started squatting in the White House again, whenever the stock market was at record highs and the Wall Street Journal was saying that the American economy was the envy of the world, he said it was because of him. He said 3 months before he was ever squatting in the White House, he said, that's because of me, because the American people want me so much that the economy's great. Because they want me, the economy's great. So he tried to take credit for Joe Biden's economy when it was good, but when his economy is in the toilet, he wants to blame Joe Biden. And I think you fake-ass patriots see that, don't you? Yeah, you do, because you're disingenuous, dishonest, disgusting garbage. That's the truth, y'all. Anyway, but the thing is I think that a lot of you Trump-supporting garbage, you fake-ass patriots, are actually getting what you voted for. See, I think that a lot of you looked around this country and you've seen that people of color, black people, women were actually getting a leg up in society for a change. Things was looking up for them, and you couldn't stand it because it ain't white men. And you would, what Donald F. Trump represents, a wrecking ball. And you would rather burn the whole damn thing down than to see other people succeed other than white Christian men. Right? Right. But you got a little problem. Donald F. Trump ain't going to be successful at making himself a dictator. And neither are those Christian Nationalist Heritage Foundation 2025 people. It ain't going to happen. Not in this country. See, and we will get to the end of this. We will get to the other side of it. And while you're in your little death throes of white supremacy, while you're laying on your back, kicking your legs, saying, I'm a dying cockroach, I'm a dying cockroach, because that's exactly what you're doing is you're throwing a hissy fit, you little biatches. We will come to the other side of this and put you out of your miseries. Finally, stomp that miserable cockroach. Okay? The end. He ain't going to be a dictator. He's a weak, pathetic piece of garbage. That's all he is. That's all he'll ever be. And we'll be done with it. Inmate Trump.